What's up, Hall of Fame? It's your boy, the best JR, aka Don't Let Me ISO. And we're back with yet another episode of Champ Talk. And today we got a very special guest. This guy is one of the toughest, fiercest, most comp 2K players Hall of Fame has ever seen. Ex-pro athlete. He goes by the name of Dhuggz 2 times. Dhuggz, say what's up, man.
What's up, man? Been waiting to get on this podcast, be on this stage, so let's get it.
Okay, man. Okay, so Dhuggz 2 times. I'm gonna assume you a Gucci Man fan.
Nah, man, this is just something that when I was coming up in pro am, this is what all my team was like, kind of 2 times. That's just kind of what we did. So just added it on to Doug's, and that's it.
Okay. So I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna call you Doug. Is that cool?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Go ahead.
All right, Doug. Okay. So you got your name on the pro am scene, huh? Well, when did you start playing 2K? How'd you get into the game?
Yeah, I always played 2K as a kid, but I started playing it more and a lot, or spent a lot of my time once I went into like 2K17, 2K18. I was just playing casually. I played competitive sports growing up, but I tore my ACL, MCL, meniscus all at once. So like I just had a
Sheesh.
bunch yeah, I had a bunch of time on my hands, and that's when I start to get more into video games during that rehab process. And yeah, man, I invested my time into 2K, started getting recognized a little bit on the pro am scene, and just evolved from there.
Okay, so I heard a few things. You used to play competitive sports. What sport?
Yeah, I played hockey growing up.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, where are you from? What's your heritage?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Canada, but both my parents are from India, so I'm fully 100% Indian.
You don't hear that every day. An Indian hockey player going if you were playing hockey anything like you play 2K, I'm going to assume you were going crazy. What position did you play?
Yeah, I was a forward, so yeah, I was a forward growing up, and yeah, you don't hear it a lot, but you hear it more in Canada. You'll see it more often than you do in the States for sure.
Okay, Crody. Okay. Um okay, so let me ask you this. What's your favorite Mighty Ducks movie? Don't fuck this up. Which one?
And Mighty, the original.
Number one. Okay, I'm not mad at that. D2 was a little better, but I'm not mad at that. I'll take D1. I'll take D1. Okay. All right. So we got a hockey playing Canadian 2K extraordinaire. Um, you started getting noticed. You said 2K18, 2K19. You got noticed. You got called up to the big stage. Something 98% of 2K comp users cannot say. Walk me through what that process was like getting drafted and actually being a pro.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's something that you picked up as a hobby, and you put more time and effort than people can think into the game, and I worked towards it for a while, and I mean, getting drafted was like how old was I? 20 years old. Um, I mean, that was the biggest accomplishment of my life at that time, so it meant a lot. You always see people, professional video games, and you're wondering if that could be you one day. And then when my name was called, man, I was with my family and my friends. We had a little draft party going, and yeah, man, that was the best night of my young life.
Man, that's incredible. So, what was that conversation like? Because I know you got immigrant parents. I got immigrant parents. My parents are from Nigeria, and if your parents are anything like my parents, you know, they just want us to be good. So early on in life, they're like, you have to work hard. You have to pick a good lane so that you don't struggle later on in life. What was that conversation like with your folks when you told them, "Hey, I might want to take video games seriously"? Well, how did they react?
Well, so I'm happy you understand immigrant parents. I mean, like they weren't taking it well, you know. Like I was trying to balance everything. I was working, I was in uni, and I had this dream of making this 2K league. I knew I was close. I had to keep it pushing, but that conversation with my parents was tough because they didn't understand, right? And I don't
Mhm.
blame them either, to be honest. But I wouldn't say I had their full support or even half support, to be honest. So when
Yeah.
it was official is when, they understood the bigger picture. They saw the contract drawn up, and that's when it really clicked for them. So to say I had full support would be a lie. They were skeptical, but yeah, once I made it, they were fully on board. They understood, and they were proud of me. So it meant a lot at that. But yeah, it was a tough stage, grinding towards the league for sure.
Yeah, probably a lot of questionable nights, huh? Them walking past your room, seeing you on the game, waking up in the middle of the night to still see you on the game, huh?
Yeah, nah, right. And I got told off a bunch of times. I got the router plugged out a bunch of times,
Oof.
and
Oof.
so nah, there was a lot of little stories like that, and yeah, no, they weren't understanding, and they thought, like he's kind of falling off the right path in their head, right? So like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was tough, but it ended up being all worth it. So
that's what's up. How many hours would you say you were putting in daily
yeah, at that point
to
in time.
make this dream come true?
Right, right. No, at that point in time, my life was I would get up, I would work I worked at a bank at that time, so I'd work my regular, or I could only uh, do a 4 hour shift. So I was part time, so I would do 9 to 1. Then I would commute to uni to take my classes there, and that take me till like 6, 7 p.m. And then from there on, the rest of the night, I was just grinding 2K, right? So like
Mm,
from anywhere from 7 to 2 a.m. every single
got it.
day.
Mm,
So yeah, long shifts. And my problem was, as much as I love pro am, I really always had a soft spot for the individual part of 2K, which is my leagues and my team. I always liked it actually more than pro am itself, but pro am was the
mm.
only way to go pro. So yeah.
Got you, got you. We're gonna touch on the my league stuff in a little bit. I wanna stay on this pro am talk because it's interesting to me. So you were working, going to school, coming home, and grinding it out. Pause. Um, when did you realize that you wanted to go pro? Like, what stage of your 2K journey were you like, hey, I might want to do this on a professional level?
Yeah, so I would say after the 2K League first came out and we all watched, season one of it, and
Mm,
at that time, the team I was on, like we were kind of at that time we were the best pro amateur team in the world. Once the pros and stuff left, and that's how I kind of built the name up. A team's name was Self-Taught, and we'd have thousands of people, and even like the pros watching our series because we were winning everything, and getting DMs from them and stuff to keep it up. You're next up is, and that's when it clicked. Like I could really make this happen. So I would say watching season one of the 2K League when we were too young to even make it.
mhm.
And yeah, that's when we first kind of all talked to each other and said, "Hey, we could all make this happen." And we ended up doing that. The whole team made the league together, so that was pretty cool.
That's dope. You said you were the best um, unofficial pro team out there. What made you guys so good?
Um, you know, Yeah, it was that's a good question. I got asked that a lot early on in 2K is what made us so special, and it wasn't every team had skill, but we just had really good communication skills with each
Mm,
other. Like we were good vibes. You'll notice in the 2K community there's a lot of toxic people, but
yeah.
we kept communication and stuff like that positive. And that separated us, and we ended up becoming, we were like friends. We wouldn't just play 2K. We were on GTA. We were playing other stuff together, and kind of became a family for us. So that's
Got
what
it.
kind of separated us at that time.
The transcendence, like, taking, turning, the vibe that you have on 2K into an actual relationship. I could see how that could be helpful, especially when the pressure is high. It's easier to trust somebody that you have an actual relationship with. At least that's how it was for me when I actually played physical basketball. Like when I knew I had a relationship with one of my teammates, and I knew I could trust them as a man. Trusting them on the court was just, it just was second nature. I don't know. There's something about having a relationship with somebody that makes high pressured situations just easier. I don't know if you feel the same, but
It's
just
it's
you talking about, your experience, I kind of made that connection in my head.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like it was the same way in hockey, it was the same way here. Like, off the court, if you guys are tight, you guys have a good relationship, it helps on the court as well because you just communicate healthier. You know that you're all in it for the right reasons. Any feedback you're getting isn't to push you down, it's to like let's lock in, right? So, um,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay. What position did you play on when you were trying to make the league?
Yeah, I was a power forward. I was a power forward, and power forwards ended up becoming instrumental to team success because they were playing the back end of the pick and roll, and also kind of orchestrating the entire defense, calling out rotations and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a pivotal role, something that you had to understand that you're not getting gonna get all the shine from the community. You're not that superstar point guard getting all the buckets or the center with the crazy stats. You're playing a specific role, and I enjoyed the role. So
That's what's up, bro. Uh, someone's got to do it, right? Someone's got to do it, and I respect that. I respect that. So power forward, I would never have guessed that. I would think that you were the either the stretch or the hash is what it's called.
yeah,
The hash, or yeah, I would think you're the hash. I
yeah.
wouldn't necessarily say lock. You go for a lot of steals in my league, but I wouldn't necessarily think lock. I would think hash because you can definitely shoot the skin off of the pill for sure. So
All
is
right.
that
And people who didn't know or only met me through my leagues or my team, that's always their first guess is that I played hash, just because of my shooting. But no, that's something that helped me come up in the community as well. Is they knew that couldn't really leave my corner. Like I was knocked down there as well, right? So, but yeah, I get that a lot for sure, just because of how I play offensively.
definitely okay? So you get drafted. Where do you go? What team picks you up?
Yeah, the Charlotte Hornets picked me up, and so cool story about that is one of my teammates on the Hornets was the person that we came up to. Actually, two of them. Sorry, it's been such a long time. Two of them were my teammates in the amateur scene as well. So we all came up together, so it was pretty cool to see that happen. And yeah, we had a pretty good season. We made the Eastern Conference Finals in the playoffs, and we won one of the biggest tournaments. So there's three in each season, and we won one of them, and it was huge, man. So yeah, Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. It's just so crazy to think about how far 2K has come. Because I started playing 2K when Iverson was on the cover. Like when they first, Take Two became this company that wanted to make a basketball game to compete with Live. I was one of their first customers. So to see where it's transcended to now is just crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what was that like going from playing 2K in your parents' crib to playing professionally on a stage? Like, what is that feeling like? Like when you're on the stage with nine other people, you have your own screen, and you're a professional. You're actually playing for something tangible.
Right, right. Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's a completely different vibe, and then you figure out whether that's when you really figure out whether it's for you or it's not, right? Because
Mm,
anybody can sit at home and in the comfort of their home and play well, but it's the players that in those more high pressure situations in front of people, other people yelling at you if you're really made for it or not. And I used to love it. Like, in fact, I think I always played better in person than I did at home.
mm.
Uh, just because of that adrenaline. And as a competitive, when you play sports competitively growing up, like that's in your blood. So that it just kind of gets you going. So yeah, I used to be known for talking a lot of shit and on stage and just kind of feeding into the moment and providing entertainment. So for me, it was better. Like I enjoyed it more in that stage. And so you still get nervous and stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I never got nervous. I definitely did, but it was so much fun with all the adrenaline pumping in person.
Man, that's that. It looked it. I would catch a few games here and there, and I'm like, damn, that looks like the pinnacle of playing 2K. Um, okay, okay. I think my next question, I want to know because what 2K did you join Hall of Fame?
It was last 2K was my first one.
Okay, last 2K. I want to know how you became such a proficient and prolific shooter. Like I consider myself a great shooter, excellent shooter. The only thing that I'm not that proficient in is the pro am level behind the screen shooting. That's still something that I got to learn. But it seems like when you joined the league, there wasn't a shot that you could not make, whether it be a step back, whether it be a running fade, both going both ways, off of the
Right.
pick, behind the screen, catch and shoot. What went into your process in learning how to shoot so well?
Yeah. So, man, I mean, a pretty deep question. When I first started, I don't know. It's just it's as cringe as it sounds. I just shoot with confidence. Like I shoot every shot with the same amount of confidence, whether it's a deep three behind the screen, a midi fade, on the fast break. I just shoot it with the same amount of confidence. Because once you start second guessing, that's the biggest mistake someone can make. We're talking about
Yeah.
greenish shots, and a couple milliseconds could be the reason why you don't. So I don't hesitate when I know I'm shooting. I'm shooting. I there's no really trick to it. Honestly, it's just the amount of reps that you get in. What I look for is, I play on release. I look for once the ball hits the top of the player's head, I let it go. That's really the only visual cue I ever look at,
Mm.
and yeah, that's it. But it's really like people say you're lying, but it's just shooting with confidence. That's all it really is.
No, I get you, bro. That confidence piece is everything. We definitely need that confidence piece, especially to hit shots that could be contested. So, you know, I get you there. I more so was I don't what's the word I'm looking for? Shocked by how many moving shots
Right.
you could green last 2K. Cause 2K in recent years, they made moving shots harder at the time.
Yep.
And it seemed like RNG didn't really matter to you. So I'm like, okay, I wonder what this guy's process is because I'm not gonna lie, my process is the same process I do in like when I was hooping for real, for real. Like I would get to the gym early, I would warm up my form, like I would start from closer to the basket, then move out to the three, and I would make when I was actually hooping, I would make 25 from each spot. That would, and there was I would baseline, wing, top of the key, other wing, baseline. So from three and then a midi, and I'm cool. So what's the math on that? That's about what 250 shots. So I would make like 250 shots anytime I knew I was playing a competitive game in real life. So for 2K, I cut that in like I make 25% of that. Whenever I load up, I know I'm going to play 2K. Let me just make sure that you know my cues are locked in. I know how to release each player's shot, and I'm good. I just have to see the ball go in the net multiple times in a row, and I'm good.
Yep.
For, was your process similar, or would you just load up and just know how to do it? Like, would
Yeah.
you have to play a couple games? Like,
Yeah, no,
walk me through that.
that's a good question, and I don't load into freestyle and start shooting before a series. That's just not me. I go into the game and test how it's feeling, and see how the game's flowing, and it just kind of really comes natural to me. But you'll see that in most of my series, I do start off a little slow. I might not be green the most, and as the series progresses, that's when I get more and more sharp.
Got it.
Um, but yeah, I don't really go into freestyle and start shooting around unless it's a new cycle or
Yeah,
there's a specific player that I just been breaking with recently. Then I will and make sure I have that cue down. But other than that, I really just load up and play.
I see. I respect it. I respect it. Okay, that makes sense. All right, you want to talk about the elephant in the room, man? You want to do that?
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Okay, so there were a few times where you wanted to join the league, and and people would bring it to my attention, and I'm like, okay, D Hugs 2 times. Who is this nigga? Like that would be my first question. Anytime somebody had a referral, I got this person I want to. I ask, who is he? How do you know him? And then when I first figured out, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Will gave me the rundown because I feel like who it was Flacco that wanted to bring you through.
Yeah.
Flacco wanted to bring you through, and he had told me that you had some experience with the pros. So I'm like, all right, let me do my due diligence. I asked my 2K constituents, the people that I've been playing with the longest, and know the game and know people in the community. So I go to Will. I'm like, Will, who is this D Hugs character? I kid you not, the first thing out of Will's mouth, and I love Will to death. Don't let that nigga in your league. That's the first thing he told me. I'm like, damn, for real? Why? He's telling me about your accolades. He's telling me about how you are in other leagues and how they have to like put chains on you and like I'm damn. So I go to a few other folks and they're saying the same things. I'm like, okay, mm, I, mm, do I want to? We're not pros. We're comp players, but do I want to turn people off of my league? Do I want to let this pro into the community, have him run it up, and then turn people off? Do I want to risk that? Yeah, we're comp. Yeah, we have pride, but do I want to risk? Do I want to put that on the line? That's where I was at. And if I'm being honest with you, my boy, I'm like, nah, it's not worth it. Unless he wants to pay a crazy fee, it's not worth it.
Right.
How were you? How did you take that when you were hearing that back from like Flacco and other people?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was pretty pissed off. I was pretty pissed off because I at least wanted a chance for me to join and kind of for you to test it out yourself, right? Like, how does he fit in with the league? Is he, you know, and does he actually end up benefiting my league? I wanted for you to see it in that perspective. And yeah, at the beginning, I was kind of pissed off. With the reasoning and stuff like that. The reason being because it's hard to find good my leagues nowadays, right? It's hard to find a my league with this type of dedicated users, right? This sort of system, something you can invest your time in and turn a hobby into something, it's fun, right? It's a lot of Hoth is a lot of fun. And I was very desperately trying to find another league where I can have fun because this is, other than me working nowadays, the only fun I really have is in my leagues in my team, right? I don't play any of that my players stuff, and it's my favorite game. So yeah, I took it hard at the when I was getting that feedback originally, like, damn, give me a chance, like just test it out. I'm not some sort of Thanos that I'm gonna come in and just absolutely dominate, right? Like I'm not as good as some people think. Like it's gonna be close series as it was has been since I've joined. So yeah, no, but yeah, I won't lie. I was pretty pissed off, or at least have a real conversation with you, which we ended up having. So
Yeah, yeah, we had that conversation, and I appreciate you telling me the truth that you were pissed. I could understand. I'd be pissed too, but you got to understand my perspective as well. Like it's my duty to protect everything that we've built, because it's not just me. I might be the best commissioner out there, but I don't have anything if I don't have 29 other dedicated users that share the same vision that I do. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm making these sorts of decisions, I'm not thinking about me. I don't really care about me. Like at the end of the day, as long as I'm not playing play now, I am Gucci. I don't care if I don't win another ring ever. But as long as I have this community where I can load into and like have, like you said, fun and have some competitive games, that's all I care about. Like
right.
even if I wasn't the commissioner, I would invest my money into this type of experience because like you said, you're not going to find this anywhere, just anywhere. So, that's where I was coming from. I'm like, I got to protect this thing that we're still building, so that's water under the bridge now. That's water under the bridge. I want to talk about your first Hoff draft, man. I want to talk about how, in my opinion, you approached that with an ego. What made you leave the fucking draft lobby to go shoot around? What made you do that, brother?
No, man, yeah, that first my first ever draft was brutal. Yeah, I didn't like this was a new type of draft for me, so I was just, trying to test out what I could test out. I thought I had time, it wouldn't let me back in the league, and it just kind of, and after that it was just a domino effect for the rest of the draft. So yeah, the thought process wasn't there. I wouldn't say I did it with the ego at all because I was pretty desperate to prove or see how I rank with the all the competitive people in here. So yeah, no, just as pissed as you were, I was at myself. So yeah, no, that whole first cycle, I mean, it was just yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal.
Brother, I'm not gonna lie. I slapped you in my head at least 15 times. In my mind, I slapped you 15 times based on the how you were treating me because you had to deal with the team you had. I'm like, bruh, why are you coming at me with all these problems? I'm not the one that told you to leave the lobby. I'm not the one that, it's not my fault. But, being a commissioner, that's one thing that you can't escape. Like people are gonna take out their frustrations on you because you're the head guy, and they feel like they have no one else to turn to and blame. But I'm not gonna lie to you, my brother. I got love for you now, but that first cycle, that first official cycle, bruh, you were not my friend. We're
No,
good
I
now.
don't. Yeah, no, no, I don't blame you at all because you got to understand from my side and how I view myself and like the cycle that I ended up having and trying to make it work with that brutal team and people beating me that shouldn't be beating me. It's someone as competitive as me. It was eating away at me, and I was getting pissed. And yeah, when I'm pissed, I'm pretty bad. So I wouldn't have been my own friend either at that time. So I don't blame you. And I told you I apologize for that first
Yeah,
cycle.
yeah, we're good now. You're a great guy. You're a great guy. We're good now. Water under the bridge. We can laugh about it now. But I understand that competitive nature. It definitely has a mind of its own, especially when you're in a dark place. Especially when you feel like you could be doing better than you actually are. So I understand, bro. I understand. Okay. Wow. You went from shit in the bed, your first draft, to a gold name.
Right.
To a gold name. That is that's pretty incredible stuff, man, because you beat you beat one of the best my league hoopers 2K has ever seen, to be honest. Zion, in my mind right now, is the best. He's number one and off. And you beat him pretty easily. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that. Let's table that. Let's table that. Let's talk about Hoff a little bit, but I definitely want to get to that series. So when you're thinking about Hoff, you just said that it's a fun environment. You wanted to see where you rank amongst this group of users. What made you say that? Because I know you're in other leagues. Is what makes I guess what makes Hoff stand out to you?
Yeah, Hoff is what stand out to me is kind of the upgrade process. It's not super ups, there's a realism to the upgrades, so you
Yeah,
can skill kind of stands out more,
got
um,
you.
in my opinion, and that's something I value.
Got
So I
you.
kind of wanted to see how I stand without all the juice, right? Or without all the juice on the players and some real ball, like because I love my team too, and that's all just juiced up players, right? So I want to see how I stand it in the kind of real more on the realistic side of 2K, and the comp users of that. So yeah, I just yeah, I seen Hoff, I just want to see where I stand with the best of the best users and in here, and yeah, so that first cycle I had this year, I saw how everybody was playing, and I knew that inside that I didn't really get to test how I rank that because I had just a absolute brutal team. So I was really looking forward to this next cycle to see how I would rank. So and so far it's been fun to see that.
Okay. Where would you say you rank? Let's just get into that. Where would you say you rank?
Yeah, it's yeah, it's a good question. I think I rank it's like a tie, not even a tie right now, just because I'm a fresh user. But I would already put myself at second in here, behind Zion. Uh,
Second
yeah.
of all. Oh, are you talking about active users or
Yeah,
like all time?
active. I'm talking about
Active. Okay.
active. I'm talking about
Okay.
looking at the league now and
Got it. Got it. Got
where
it.
I think I stand. Not all time because, like I said, I'm a fresh user. It would be crazy for me to like come out here and say I'm the best Hoff user of all time or something. No way. We need more time on that to kind of figure that out. But like right now. I would say either I'm side by side of Z or just a little lower than him. I mean, I thought I was a nerd until I met this kid. Like he's on a whole level of gaming that I don't like the pose hooking and all this stuff like that stuff that I wouldn't even think of doing. So yeah, that's where I would rank myself right now for sure. And we'll see how this season 3 goes, and I'll have an update for you.
All right. I like that confidence, man. I like that confidence. I'm not gonna lie. For the people listening that feel like what would you say to the people listening that feel like they don't know how to draft? Because we have some new users, right? That I feel like drafted shitty.
Yep.
Going into your draft, what were you thinking? How were you thinking about drafting, or how do you approach drafting in general?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. My first pick, I always prioritize getting my scorer, like someone who I know is gonna get me a bucket for the rest of this cycle. Um, and this season, I think I got blessed with a pretty high pick. I think I was pick five or six, and so I got someone that I was comfortable with, and then it's building from there. You know, your main pieces in my league, in my opinion, are you get your scorer, you get your center, and you get someone who you can put on ball for the whole cycle. That's how I kind of value it. And for the center, for my second pick, the center and lock are 50-50. If there's just a really elite lock that's still on the board for my second pick, I will take him over a center. And then, but it just depends. It's kind of 50-50. But yeah, one thing you have to realize is after you experience your play style in my league, you got to stop trying to copy other people. There's no meta. You need to draft players that support your play style, right? For me, I would never draft an inside big. That's just me because that's not the way I work, right? So I'm always
Mhm.
looking for somebody who can shoot and provide a stretch so that I have good spacing out there and everyone's a threat to run some nice five out and that's when the pick and pop will kill you. So don't follow meta. There's no meta. Don't follow people's trends. You got to figure out what's your play style and draft players that complement that.
Love that. I love that. I love that. So in a universe where, let's say, you weren't able to draft a stretch big. I know I wasn't. I had pick three. I couldn't draft a stretch. What do you do then? Is the next 90 days of your experience cooked?
No, no.
Or
Oh, you gotta adjust too. Like I'm just saying off my personal experience, but I chose Cat over Kareem and like some of these elite Hakeem, like these top elite inside bigs. Like that's a risk I took knowing my play
yeah,
style, but I know for sure that um if it were to come to it, I would be able to adjust and make it work, and then draft around having an inside big as well.
mm,
Someone who can dive and take over the mid range area and bring out attention to defense and have him grab easy offensive rebounds, kind of like what Z is doing right now.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it's I could adjust and do that, but it's more so preference. So yeah, I wouldn't say that the draft, you're always going to get players took, and that set draft plan that you have before is 9 times out of 10, that's not the way it's going to go. So you got to be ready to adjust and just kind of be prepared. This draft, I was prepared. I had a list of players I kind of liked at each position, and I was crossing them off and then figuring out where to go from there.
okay, okay. So it seems like you take a very strategic approach to your experience. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, yeah. When you know you're gonna invest so much time into something and money, you should, in my opinion, you should always have some sort of strategy involved with it. And yeah, so I definitely had a strategic approach to this cycle.
Okay. That being said, what was your I want to talk about two series. What was your approach to playing Jay Buck, who had fresh off of making a finals? Let's start there. How did you approach that series? What were your objectives and what were you trying to accomplish in game, gameplay wise? I know you wanted to win, but what were the mini goals to get to that win?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So my number one mini goal when playing J-Buck when he has a higher seed than me is just snag one of the games on the West Coast. That was my goal. That in the first two games of that series, let me just snag one of these West games, and I know that I will be in better control of my fate on my own server. So
Mhm.
that's one of the mini goals I had. The second one was make him push the pace. J Buck's like,
Make him push the pace. He does that in his sleep.
yeah,
Go
but
on.
even no, that's true. But even more than that, Um,
Okay.
because you know what I realized with these new young kids, when they're pushing the pace or pushing the pace to in my perspective, they tend to make more mistakes. Especially in playoff games when those possessions are so crucial. You have them pushing the pace, you have them double thinking whether the corner's dropping or it's not, or like is Doug's gonna blitz on this play or not. You're making them think the whole game. Um, you have more control over your own fate because I feel like they tend to make more mistakes when I do that. So yeah, he seems like he pushes the pace, but if you watch our series back, that's probably the fastest he's ever been playing, which is the way I want to play the game.
And why do you want to play the game so fast?
Because I know how to make. I'm a quick decision maker, and
Got it.
I don't hesitate when people are they're forced to push the pace and they have a second of hesitancy. That's my advantage, right? Like that's when I know, like, okay, he's thinking about this double. Let me quickly blitz him. He got this in the wrong person's hands. Let me double team him. So yeah, I like to push the pace because I know I make quick decisions and the right decisions, whether it's on offense or defense. So that's why I like it that way.
Got it. So you wanted to snag one of them West games, which you did, and you knew you could get the job done on your server. Okay, that's dope. Now, transitioning into playing the Hawks and dealing with an overpowered Shaquille O'Neal with what most would consider a big that doesn't have any defense. How did you approach that series? Like, what did you tell yourself going into that series?
Listen, I mean, to think about it, like I have out of everybody that's played him so far, I have the worst big to defend that monster of a player that Shaq's been this entire cycle. And I learned something in our first series where I lost to Z in the conference finals, and it was make anybody else beat you at that point. And I did that, and I did a good job at it in our first series, even though I lost. It ended up being the fact that Siakam was also a post player, and my power forward wasn't. He was a rookie. He wasn't really ready to kind of guard that, and I changed my approach. I made sure that he has post lockdown and stuff for this series, and I had the same mentality most of the time make anybody else but Shaq beat me. But at the same time, he's now in a constant mindset that I'm gonna bring a double to Shaq. So sometimes I need to play it straight up. So I just did something different than anybody else did versus C, which is really make him think. Like I'm not gonna let you just sit there, throw it in the post with Shaq and think you can just go up. Like every now and then I'm throwing a double team. Every now and then I'm gonna reach with somebody. Every now and then I'm gonna jump at the post hook. Sometimes I won't jump. So it just becomes mind games at that point in time, which I didn't see anyone else doing on Z.
Wow, you took it another notch. You took it to another level. The mind games. That is another that's another tier of competition when you could psychologically affect the game by the way you choose to approach offense or defense. Is that something that you just unlocked recently, or is that kind of been your style of play?
That's kind of what always has given me the edge because yeah, I
Mm.
have skill, but a lot of people have skill. But what can carry you over the edge when you're having just a straight battle of skill like me and Z were having is having that advanced IQ for certain situations and scenarios and understanding the game and just overall just approaching the game in a different way than load up and set some screens and run to like it got to be deeper than that, which is how I like to play in these series that mean something because it's a lot of fun for me to throw stuff like that at people because I don't want you to play a whole series where you're comfortable. I want to make you as uncomfortable as I can throughout the whole series, which people always tell me I do, and that's what threw them off. So I'm just gonna kind of keep at that same way, and it's something that I've kind of always had. From the pro-am side, that's something I learned is, while I was orchestrating the defense in pro-am is you got to throw different looks at these point guards, right? All of them are really good, but how can you make them the most uncomfortable?
Mm, I like that. That's a nugget. Hope y'all are listening. That's a nugget. I'm definitely gonna take that nugget. Pause. But okay, man, you just dropped some gems, my boy. I'm not gonna lie, you just dropped some gems. The way that I like to end these conversations is I like to end them with your top 10. Give me your current day Hoff top 10. Doesn't have
Wow.
to be in order, but including yourself, who's
Right.
your top 10?
Yeah, no, that's a good way to end it off for sure. Man, I'm gonna have to think about this for a second. So, top 10, I'm gonna have to let's see. Yeah, in no order, right?
No
So,
order, no order.
yeah, in my top 10, I would have, of course, me, Z,
Okay, that's two,
Tut,
three,
J Buck,
four,
Rack,
five,
um, Striker,
six.
I think. So four more people. I'm right now I'm trying to think in my mind like who gives me the most problems and has been given problems in this whole league. Um, current top 10 is crazy. Let's see. So I have six. Um, yeah, based off the rest of the league. Yeah, you would be in the top 10. Um, so seven. Uh, man, these last three are hard because after this seven, like no one's really shown anything this
Ooh,
cycle.
ooh, talking spicy to end the pod.
Yeah, I
Okay.
the rest of the league I haven't really, there's some new users in this league that I think have a lot of potential.
Hmm.
Once they figure out this drafting stuff, which is the Spurs
Okay.
and the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
Uh,
those two guys are nice. I'm not gonna lie. Those
they,
two users are super duper annoying to play.
I
Super duper annoying.
I think they have a lot of potential in Hoff once they figure out this drafting stuff and certain play styles and their defense side of things. They might even be in my top 10, or at least Spurs definitely is. And Grizz actually, so I played the Grizz in the first round, and believe it or not, he gave me a hell series. Like he was doing stuff out of the ordinary of Hoff. The way his scoring kind of reminded me of myself, the way he's scoring. And
Yeah.
I kind of saw myself in him when I first joined Hoff, where he's kind of shooting these fades and stuff that people are not used to, and it caught me off guard. So he gave me a great series. So I have respect for him. And yeah, I would put Spurs in the top 10. I know Grizz is gonna definitely be a top 10 player going forward in here. And then so that's nine. And the last one I'll put is he gives me trouble here and there based off how serious he's taking the game is Bo, Pelicans.
Yeah. Yeah. Bo takes the game real serious. I fuck with Bo. I fuck with Bo. Okay. That's an interesting take. You put two of the rookie guys in there. I like that. I like when people switch it up. I appreciate the honesty. Okay. Is there anything that you want to leave the Hoff community with, or do you have any questions, or what do you want to? How do you want to end this, my dude?
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't really have any questions for you. I understand your perspective on things, and I appreciate you for running a great league, which I'm really enjoying my time in actually. But yeah, no, I just want to say, man, there was a lot of people that were kind of talking to me in a weird way during that first cycle and maybe not believing that I was really that good, but I'm happy that I was able to draft my team and kind of make everyone understand that I'm here. So the way I want to leave it off as you see me draft my team and you see what happened this last season. So I'm not going nowhere.
Doug, I appreciate having you on the pod, man. This has been a phenomenal conversation. Congrats again on the ring and the gold name. Do me a favor, shoot me your Addy. I'll shoot you the ring.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on the pod. It's good to have conversations like this. I feel like it brings a good element to the league. So appreciate your time. Appreciate you having me, and I'll swing you the Addy, bro.
Sounds good. Well, Hoff, that was your episode of Champ Talk. You know we'll be back.